The movie follows the plot of an old lady named Malsoon. She's old and a widow. She lives with her son and his family. She usually fights with her daughter-in-law. When she was young, she had a passion for singing, but she had to let it go to raise her son. Now her grandson has a band. One day, by some miracle, she turns back to her youth and starts to relive her youth. She joins her grandson's band and starts to sing in it. Her grandson gets into an accident and requires a blood transfusion. She has a matching blood group with him, but if she donates the blood, she'll turn back into the old self. She's presented with a choice, to save her grandson or her youth. How did she turn back into a youthful girl? How will she live her returned youth? Will she save her grandson's life or her youth? To know it in detail, watch the video till the end. The movie starts and we see Malsoon. Malsoon is a widow, she's 74 years old, and she's very stubborn, controlling, foul-mouthed, and shameless. She lives with her only son, Hyun-chul. Hyun teaches at a university as a professor. He's the professor of gerontology. Hyun is married to Aija, and he has 2 kids. Malsoon is very proud of her son. Malsoon works in a cafe shop. She has a coworker who's also her friend, whose name is Mr. Park. She was close to Mr. Park, and she shared her feelings and thoughts with him. Then, an arrogant lady named Ling enters the cafe shop. Malsoon didn't like her one bit. Malsoon and Ling had a bitter rivalry. She looks around the cafe, and she and Malsoon start to argue about something. The argument reaches such a heated stage that they start fighting physically and attacking and scratching one another. Mr. Park tries to stop them and intervene in the fight, but unfortunately, he himself gets hurt in the process. He's pushed back and hits his nose, which starts to bleed. Later, we see Mr. Park at his home with his daughter, Park Na-young. He lives with her. He has cotton stuffed up his nose to stop the bleeding. Malsoon gets there to check up on him and inquire about his condition. Park Na-young advises Malsoon to say sorry to Ling. Malsoon does not like this. She leaves what she's bought for Mr. Park, and then she herself leaves. Mr. Park gets angry at his daughter, and he scolds her. Mr. Park takes his 2-wheeler bike and goes behind Malsoon. He gets to her and apologizes. She smiles, and then she sits behind him on the bike, and they ride on. Next, we see Han Seung-woo. He's a TV producer. Han was at auditions, and he was looking for fresh talent for his show. His assistant has selected many people, and now he's judging them. He doesn't like anyone selected by his assistant, and he thinks of them all as jokers. We see Malsoon, who's now at home. Her daughter-in-law, Aija, was also there. She has a very bad relationship with Aija, who is suffering from depression. Malsoon and Aija both are in the kitchen. Malsoon observes the fish curry prepared by Aija, and she's not pleased. She starts to scold her. Radish is supposed to be put on top of the fish, not under the fish. She said to her. Getting scolded by her mother-in-law was a regular matter for Aija. We see Bon Ji-ha. He's Hyun's and Aija's son, and Malsoon's grandson. He's sneaking out with his guitar for guitar practice. He wants to be a musician, but Aija does not like this, and she scolds Ji-ha. But Malsoon's motto is, live the life you want to live. So she scolds Aija and supports Ji-ha, and also gives him pocket money. Malsoon was so proud of her son Hyun, and seeing him in his professor suit was the biggest happiness in her life. We learn that her husband died when she was young, and Hyun was a baby. She has raised him with many difficulties. She had a passion for singing, but she had to leave and had to live by eating from the garbage cans and working in the fish market. Every day she'll come out of her house to see him off to his work. One day, Aija suddenly faints. She's rushed to the hospital and is admitted there. After treatment, when she regains her consciousness, she starts to mumble, "Mother." Malsoon thinks that she's calling her to get close to her daughter-in-law. But then Hyun says to her that Aija is telling her to get out of the room.
나가시래요.
Malsoon is very hurt because of this. Later, the doctor tells Hyun that the surgery was successful. He tells him that his wife is suffering from a heart issue, and if he wants to save her life and avoid becoming a widow, he should take good care of her. If her condition gets any worse, they'll have to perform open-heart surgery on her. In the next scene, we see Hyun is at home and he's in a room with his daughter Ban Hana. Hana says to him that all of this has happened because of Grandma. Why aren't you sending her to a nursing home? You should send her to a nursing home. Ji-ha is against this idea and he defends his grandmother. He claims that they can't do this to her. Malsoon is outside the room and she's listening to all of this. She feels very hurt. She gets ready to go to a nursing home and have a goodbye dinner with Hyun and Hana. Hyun doesn't want to send her to a nursing home, and she is not happy to do it. But Mal-soon decided to make the sacrifice for her son's family.
의미한테 자리야.
At night, Mal-soon has left the house and she's sitting at a bus station. She has no idea where to go from there. She looks up to see a photo studio by the name of Forever Young. She goes into the studio and tells the photographer to take a picture for her funeral, as there's only very little time left, and she'll only get older, so at least her funeral photo should look good. The photographer clicks her picture, and after taking the picture, she comes out of the studio. As she exits, she sees that the bus has started moving. She runs to get on the bus and catches the bus. She gets on the bus and a few boys start passing remarks to her. Actually, Mal-soon has now become young, but she didn't know it. She gets angry at the boy who's hitting on her, and she beats him like a granny. She sees her reflection in the boy's glasses, and she doesn't understand. She then looks in the glass of the bus window. She sees that she's now young, and she gets very surprised and starts to shout. She then gets off the bus and goes back to the location of the studio. But there's no studio there. Instead, it's a restaurant. She inquires a lady who's the owner of the restaurant about the photo studio. She learns that the restaurant has been there for the last 10 years, and there's no photo studio there. Mal-soon is confused, and she doesn't know what's happening. She doesn't return to her family. Instead, she starts staying with the cafe workers in lodging. Hyun is looking for Mal-soon, and he inquires at many places. He even goes to Mr. Park's house, but he doesn't find her there. Hyun was very tense, as she's not picking up her phone from last night, and even Ji-ha couldn't find her. The next day, Mal-soon goes to a mall and does a lot of shopping, just like a teenager. She buys a lot of dresses, and they suit her really well. After shopping, she goes to Mr. Park's house, and she meets his daughter there. She's talking to him and inquiring about the guest room. Soon, Mr. Park comes there, and he doesn't even recognize Mal-soon. When he asks her what her name is, she tells him that her name is Oh Do-ri, and she starts to stay at Mr. Park's house. The next day at the cafe shop, a musical evening was arranged. Mal-soon was now going by the name of Do-ri, and Ling was also present there. They're all singing, dancing, and enjoying themselves. Everyone was singing karaoke, and Ling is also singing. Everyone likes her singing, and they praise her. Now Do-ri goes on the stage, and she sings very beautifully. Listening to her voice, Mr. Park starts to remember old Mal-soon. The TV producer Han was also present there. Ji-ha, who was present nearby, thought that Mal-soon is singing and entering the cafe shop. Everyone enjoys her singing. At night, Ji-ha takes Do-ri out for dinner. He says to her that he wants to tell her something. Please don't say no. Before he can complete his sentence, Do-ri thinks that he's going to propose and start making a scene. She keeps her hands on both her ears and shouts no loudly. Ji-ha gets sad and says that you sing well, and if you sang in my band, then that would have been nice. Listening to this, Do-ri removes her hand from her ears and sits down again. She then asks Ji-ha why he looks so depressed. He tells her that he wanted to become a singer, but he was unable to do so. His mother got ill, and his granny has left the house last night. He tells her all the tragedies. Now Do-ri agrees to sing in his band, and from the next day, she starts to sing in his band. They do a lot of stage performances together. One day, Ji-ha invites Do-ri to his house, and she agrees to come. At the house, everyone thinks that she's Do-ri, and invites her as Do-ri. She somehow manages to sneak into her room and takes her credit card. They have lunch together, and Aija has prepared fish curry. While eating, Do-ri says that if you put radish on top of the fish, then the fish tastes better due to the radish juice drooping on top of it. Aija is shocked after listening to this, and she thinks about Mal-soon. Ji-ha's band also performs at the auditions of Han's TV show, and the band gets selected due to Do-ri's singing talent. They celebrate, and Ji-ha is very happy. At night, while returning to her room, she sees her tooth set hanging on a wire, and she knew that it was Mr. Park's doing. These tooth sets were gifted to her by Mr. Park. She goes inside, ties up Mr. Park, and beats him. She tells him the reality, that she's Mal-soon. She then asks him to invite Hyun and Aija to his house. Mr. Park does so and invites them. He tells them that he had met Malsoon and that she'd asked them not to worry about her, and that she's now living a different life. He also tells them that Malsoon has asked them to activate her credit cards, and he gives them a letter from Malsoon. Aija and Hyun are relaxed after hearing this. We see that Mr. Park is now working out to Loo-young, and we see that one day he gets dressed like a youngster and takes his bike. He goes to Do-ri, who's standing at a bus stop. While standing there, a bike stops near her, and when the driver pulls his helmet down, it's Mr. Park. Do-ri is shocked, and Mr. Park even gives her a rose. She takes the rose and gets on the bike, but she also scolds Mr. Park. The next day at the TV music show, Jiha's band has to perform. Do-ri performs nicely on the stage. Do-ri and Jiha and their band team decide to go to a water park. Mr. Park also accompanies them, because, as you can tell, he's very fond of parks. There, while in the pool, Malsoon gets hurt and bruises her feet. She gets injured, and blood starts flowing from her foot. The area of her skin starts to age, and now Mr. Park realizes that if blood comes out of Malsoon's body, she'll return to her normal old form. Mr. Park and Do-ri are in a room, and when he's examining her injury, Park Na-young arrives. Seeing Mr. Park and Do-ri together, she misinterprets it. She thinks that they're having an affair. She shouts at Do-ri and even kicks her out of the house. Han sees homeless Do-ri and takes her to his house. The next day, Mr. Park meets up with Hyun and tells him that the young girl Do-ri is his mother. Hyun does not believe this. Many days pass, and Do-ri keeps performing with the band. Jiha's band gets very famous because of her. Han even books Jiha's band for an extravaganza at the studio. On the day of the program, Jiha is stuck in traffic, and it's getting late, so he leaves the taxi and takes a bike to get there faster. He's speeding the bike in a hurry, and on the way he gets hit by a truck and gets severely injured. He's transferred to the hospital, and after learning this, all the people of the band start to panic and become tense. They decide to quit the program. But Do-ri stops them and says that we will perform for Jiha. He has worked hard for this, and we can't leave this. We will perform for him. The band controls their emotions and goes to the stage, and they perform. After the performance, they all go to the hospital. Jiha's condition was critical, and he required a blood transfusion. As Malsoon and Jiha have the same blood type, she decides to give her blood for Jiha. Mr. Park takes her aside and reminds her that, by donating blood, her youth will be lost, and she'll return to her old normal self. He asks her to rethink her decision, but Do-ri does not change her mind, and she goes inside. There, Hyun meets her, and he says to her that, "You can leave, I'll save my son by myself. Go and live a happy life. This time, don't eat from the trash can, and don't work in a fish market. Don't sacrifice too much for your son. This time, don't marry someone who will die soon, and this time, don't birth a bad son like me. Now go." This causes Do-ri to start crying. Hyun tells her, "Go, mother." He now knows that Do-ri is Malsoon, his mother. She tells him that even if she was born again, she'll still live the life that she's lived until now. She'll always be his mother, and he will always be her son. And then she hugs Hyun. After that, we see that Do-ri donates blood to Jiha, and Jiha is saved. Jiha gets better, and Do-ri again turns into the granny Malsoon. She then returns to her house and starts living happily with them, and now she and Aija have a better relationship. Han-na takes Do-ri's position in the band as a vocalist. Malsoon continues to work at the cafe shop, and one day she's standing at the bus station when a bike stops in front of her. The biker gets down from the bike and approaches her. He removes his helmet, and it's a very handsome boy under the helmet. He comes near her and asks her, "Are you still not impressed?" Listening to this, Malsoon realizes that it's Mr. Park. Actually, Mr. Park also found the same photo studio as Malsoon. He gives his helmet to her, and they both sit on the bike and drive away, bickering good-naturedly, as they always do. The movie ends here. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up. To watch more explanations of these kinds of movies, click on the videos on your screen. And don't forget to let me know how you feel about today's videos in the comments down below. Kindly like the video and subscribe to my channel, and press the bell icon so you don't miss any new videos.